it's sort of ironic, but like, yeah, sovereignty is practiced in community, in relationship. It's I'm sovereign and you're sovereign. If I'm just like out in the woods, I mean, I'd still be like, I'm sovereign, tree sovereign, but I'm just like, I'm sovereign and avoid like what the reason to say sovereign is to say where one person ends and another person begins. And that's a good beginning. And then out of that, now you still relate to one another, though. You're not just parallel, neutral forces to each other.
Hi, we're Jamie and Joan, two humans and bodies who take care of bodies for a living.
We created this podcast as practical medicine for bodies living through this disembodied time.
We want to invite you to come sit with us and experience the beautiful, loving, complex person that is your body.
Hi, Jamie.
Hello, Joan. How are you?
I am well.
Mm-hmm.
I am many different ways and things. I'm having a lower energy evening personally. So I think this may be a lower energy, smooth jazz type level podcast for both of us. Mm-hmm. I kind of don't want to ask you just how are you, because I know you're going to talk a bunch about what you're going through. So
Sure. Yeah. I mean, we may as well just begin where everybody already knows we're going to begin, which is me asking you how you've been experiencing your anatomy this week, which is, I suppose, another way of answering the question of how are you?
Yes. Today I experienced my anatomy, I think definitely still honoring my capacity, but I did quite a bit of like Zoom-based cognitive work today. Mm-hmm. And had two beautiful children at home with me sick. Though, honestly, they crushed it. They never interrupted. I kept the older one home. He was sick, but he didn't have a fever. But I knew if I just had the younger one home, I would just have had canceled my day. And that would have been fine. But I was like, what if the older one can be the leader? And they got their own lunch. They went up to nap. They did all the things.
Oh, that's sweet.
So all of that was actually quite sweet to experience. I'd say the most intense feeling I had in my body today was right at the end of the day, after I typically finish, an email came through about this like academic role that I've been a part of that led to a phone conversation. And I just felt like the word I thought of before was bureaucratic rage.
Wow, that's either a band name or an album title or a book title. That's good.
It's so specific.
Or your third podcast, maybe?
Yeah, no, absolutely not. But it is I think a feeling. When I named it for myself, I was like, yeah, that's what you're feeling. And I actually like felt so intense. It was after the email and before the phone call. And I'd sent a response that was like respectful, but was like, what? This thing we've been working on now at the last minute is, anyway, not, they're saying it can't happen for these reasons that we already talked about, how it could happen. So it's one of those where you feel like you're truly going in a circle.
Yeah.
And I felt that sort of like angsty, like sent back the email and was like checking my inbox a billion times and was feeling the like rage and wanting to rant about it. And so I went down to the basement and like did a little ecstatic dance session with myself.
Yeah. Good.
And it didn't like cure, but I mean, truly at least 75% of the rage energy was able to be moved.
I know exactly what you mean. And I know exactly how that works.
Yeah. And especially because it's like petty rage. You know what I mean? Like, I am fine. All is well. Other than, why can't things be easier when everyone's supposed to be in a role that helps each other? Mm-hmm. Why are we having the opposite experience?
Yeah.
Why is this harder than it needs to be? This seems like this shouldn't be the hard part, like all those sorts of feelings. So that was before now, and then led to me doing a later bedtime with the boys. So that's why we pushed back when we started this podcast. But I still honored and gave time to that. And I feel like I've come down from the wave of it at this point, but that's how I've been experiencing my anatomy this evening, Jamie.
I feel like there's going to be increasing opportunities over the next, 5 to 10 years for you to counsel people about processes for dealing with, like somatic processes for dealing with bureaucratic rage. I will say I don't encounter bureaucracies often outside of, I pay taxes for now. I pay my taxes for now. I just recently found out that the United States taxation system is voluntary.
What?
Uh-huh.
Don't you go to jail if you don't pay taxes or something? Isn't that what
yes
they
and
say,
no. There's some, I won't get into it now, but I am interested in learning more about this over the next, couple of years because I'm interested in, I don't know if you heard, I'm sure you and everyone else in the world has heard what our country's been up to lately. And I'm tired of funding that. So that's really that's my bureaucratic rage is I give you my money for this. What? And we still don't have paid maternity leave in like any of our 50s. Anyway, it's cost prohibitive to like have a baby in this country. Anyway, so I bless you. I honor you. I see you in the role you play. I mean, I recently talked to another person who exists inside of like the standard structures of healthcare, who has like a lot of chronic illnesses and things that have been steadily emerging in their body over time. And it was like at the end of the session, we kind of were like, wait a minute. Your body doesn't want to do nothing moving forward. I know it might feel that way. Your body wants to do more aligned stuff, and like the structures you're being required to like put in the paperwork and the codes, and that's what your body is revolting against right now. Yeah. And I got to tell this person that like, boy, are you not alone. Like there are, so this theme of bureaucratic rage, I feel like as these structures continue to crumble and reveal themselves as kind of the emperor who does not have any clothing on at all whatsoever. And just like, you said something about, this is my paraphrase of how I heard you, like be like, it's a problem, but it's not a real problem, real problem or whatever.
Petty.
But Joan, it's like an insult to your time, and your time is really valuable.
That is it. Yes.
Your time is energy, and both your time and your energy are extremely valuable, especially as you have taken the path to learn how to value both of those even more. Like this process of like reclaiming as much of it as you can in a sovereign way. We're going to talk a bit about sovereignty today. Like, I don't think it's petty, and it's tough to know what to do with when we are still, these structures do still exist. Many people function inside of them, and you want to help people who are also functioning in the, so I think like a good quality, ecstatic, bureaucratic rage dance every now and then is wise. Primal screams, that's another option. So yeah, I think there's a masterclass of some kind in your future where you're teaching people how to somatically handle bureaucratic rage.
Listen, you heard it here first, folks. I'm gonna stew on that because for sure. Oh, thank you for validating that it's more than petty. It is true. It is a bunch of ways in which it's like disheartening is maybe a word.
Absolutely. Yeah, totally.
And non-generative. And this is something we're trying to build, right? So the rage is valid.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I think it's logical, reasonable. I think it makes perfect sense. I think it would be a disservice to yourself and others to pretend like these sorts of bureaucratic runarounds don't induce rage.
Yeah.
It feels adjacent to, I had a client recently, actually sober sat for a client recently. I flew down to Austin. This client secured an Airbnb for us to do the journey in. And he was sharing with me about how the check-in process just was like frustrating because it was at no point did he speak to like a real person. And there was a little bit of a frustration, like a logistical hiccup, and there was no person to talk, because, AI, everything. And Ty was telling me yesterday that, we're putting Crowley down tomorrow, which we'll get to when you ask me how I've been doing.
Yes.
And he was like, this woman that where she's going to come to our house and do it, like she comes highly recommended. Other people I know have used her services. He's like, now that I've talked to her, she seems great. And she's got this AI automation answering thing that, I'm so glad I did not make the phone call as like the, pet owner. I couldn't have handled hearing a robot say, "I'm so sorry to hear about Crowley," and like,
ew.
And so I told this client of mine in Austin the same thing I told Ty, which is like, we need to start giving these companies this feedback, these individuals this feedback, because like, again, my client was like, this is a beautiful spot. This has been overall a great experience, but I don't think I would ever book this again or with this company because that was so off-putting. And I was like, they need to know that they're losing business because they've pivoted to the robots like too much. And so
outsource the wrong thing.
Yeah, totally. Yes. So there's a way in which like that sort of necessary correction, like from this like over enthusiasm in the direction of like, that like the structure, the system, it's going to be great if we implement it. And so this feels adjacent to like, it actually feels like an important personal and public service for you to access and display your rage.
My rage.
So that other people can know like, this is weird, right? Like this is weird that we're trying to like get something done that will be of service to people. And there's all these reasons why we're going in these. I mean, I don't know the specific details, everything, but yeah, your response to it is totally logical. And there are probably other people who need to feel the permission to be like, actually, this is fucking stupid. Why do we do this? Because eventually, if enough people are like, why do we do it this way?
Yeah.
It will not be done that way anymore.
Yes. And that basically is where we're at now, is like, we're going in a circle.
Yeah.
So how do we
stop
get off
doing
the track?
That?
and genuinely, no, both because the rage, but more than that, like 'cause the rage is because you feel trapped in it. And it's like, these are reasonable people. We know these people. I like these people. What's going on?
Right.
Where's the off ramps? Let's go to 4D chess. What do we need to do to like actually find a way? So that's hopefully where we're going. But I really needed to dance it out first, even before I could have the conversation.
I'm so glad you did. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's great.
Thank you. Okay, Jamie, are you ready for me to ask you the question of how you've been experiencing your anatomy this week?
We'll find out.
All right.
Okay.
How's it been going?
It has felt so many different ways I could start this. There's a dying body in my home.
Yeah.
Like, and like the body that my body has been most attuned to for almost 7 years, like even more than Ty.
Yeah.
Truly. Because I've been living in a house with Ty and sleeping in a bed with Ty for a year and a half. And, we were long distance for 2 years and had physical proximity in these back and forth visits. But like this cat entered my house on December 21st, 2019. And up until, what happens to animals when they start feeling horrible, which is they will retreat. And he has gone through these waves of like retreat and then reconnect and retreat and reconnect. Like there hasn't been like a single night really that he hasn't for some length of time like slept in my bed with me. Like my rhythm for over 6 years is like when I get home, even after moving into this house where there's like other beings to greet, a dog that's like, pick me, or like human children and my partner, my body's priority, because I'm just so used to it, has been greet the cat. And especially when I lived alone for all those years, it was, I mean, he would come to he'd hear me, gosh, when I lived in my old apartment, I could hear him meowing. I lived in the third floor of like a old building. So it was just stairs and it was really echoey, and I could walk in, not all the time, depending on if it was like close to dinner time or something like that.
Yeah.
But I'd say more often than not, I would walk in and from the bottom of these 3 flights of stairs, I'd hear him meowing. And I mean, boy, did he have a voice on him. He was a loud fucking cat. Like everyone who's known him is like, whoa. And so that's, when we got back from Hawaii, just like almost 4 weeks ago, first thing I noticed was like, the fuck happened to his voice? Like in the matter of a week. Like this is how aggressive this cancer has been.
Gosh. Yeah.
We left and it seemed like he was like getting over whatever it is that I thought had happened to him first, like maybe an infection or something. And then, we were gone for a week. We come back and he's just like croaky and skinny. And I'm like, what the fuck? And, 3 days later, I take him to the emergency vet. And that was the first moment of being introduced to the possibility that it could be cancer. And less than a week later, it was confirmed. And less than 3 weeks later, we're putting him down tomorrow. And I'm very tuned in to the experience of loss, like in my body. Like my body can feel impending loss, like impending separation, like the anticipatory sensations of that by way of this like proximity to incredible sickness, to death, to cancer. Like cancer has a smell. Like I can smell what cancer smells like.
Yes.
Emanating from my cat. His scent has changed. I used to like bury my face in the top of his head. And I remember, there have been so many instances throughout the past few years where I would just like inhale his little head scent and like have this wave of like kind of simultaneous like euphoria and also like this like someday this scent will not be available to me. And it's already gone.
It's already gone.
What's interesting, I'll say that I've noticed is like that bodies are fucking fascinating, Joan. Like that has like transferred. I'm like so much more aware of and attuned to my dog's scent now.
Oh.
It's like whatever those receptors are in me, like when I go and like kiss my dog's head and like this just happened. I just noticed this happening in the last probably 3 to 5 days, somewhere in there, where like my dog's scent is now doing to me what Crowley's scent used to do. And I'm like, wow, what the fuck? Like, this is so fascinating. So like, I've been experiencing my anatomy through this dual process of like, I'm having the experience like in my body of like, okay, I'm in the presence of, there is a dying body in my home, this particular body that has been like an incredible teacher, this source of, animals are just like unconditional love. And that's happening to me. And I'm also, because I can't help it, I'm also like observing and sort of cataloging what this is like. Because I think I said this before, like I've never walked through anything like this before.
Yeah.
Both my parents are still living. I've never really lost anyone that close to me, at least not like when they were currently close to me. I've certainly never had the experience of like a body that I am in the presence, my body's in the presence of consistently, like just like rapidly plummet in like health and vitality. And this time tomorrow, I will be living in a reality of like, I've never done this before, where I've never been on the other side of like I am intending to, if he lets me, and if I can, I'm intending to be holding him while he receives these injections.
Yeah.
I intend to hold his body the whole 30-minute drive out to the land. I intend to hold him the whole time until I put him in the ground. And I don't know who I am on the other side of that. I've never done that before. I've never done anything close to that before. None of us have. Like, the boys haven't. Ty hasn't to that degree. We talked about it the other night, and he had, childhood pets that his family like put down. Like, my community here, we've processed a few animals in these really beautiful, ceremonial, and like respectful ways. Like, I've been a part of the dispatching and processing of more than two, actually 4 sheep and a pig. And, man, that first one was, boy, did it fucking rattle me. Like, this is different in a lot of ways, but I don't know. I don't know, like, who I am on the other side of like holding a body as that body dies.
Yeah.
And so I have been pretty scattered. I've been pretty slow. I've been quite emotional, obviously. I am actually also very honestly ready to feel relief because especially in the last 24 hours, he's totally stopped eating. It's like he knows. Like,
he knows.
I asked him to wait until Thursday, and that's what he's doing. So yeah, I've been experiencing my anatomy in very intensely presencing ways, in the same way that I'm like, whoa, his smell is different. What is that smell? How does my body just innately know that smell is cancer? Like, they've said like dogs can detect cancer. And like Ty said something to me a day or two ago where he's like, they say humans can't smell cancer. And I'm like, fuck, I can. Like, I don't know how to explain that. Could I smell it in another human? I don't know, but I'm sure someone out there actually can. Like, but my senses have been super heightened. In addition to that, like, I've like been catching the whiff of like, well, that's cedar. Like, how is that? How, like, where is, or like listening to a song yesterday during the movement portion of the refuge. The last 2 songs I picked, because of course, we're talking all about grief, and the last 2 songs were 2 songs by my favorite artist, my favorite band, Gang of Youths, and it's the final 2 songs on the album that they released in 2022, and it's the album that the main guy, lead singer, primary writer of the music, wrote after his father's death. And as I was like moving to, I was like hearing these songs differently. I was like, it almost was like too intense, like the wall of sound, because I was literally hearing parts in it I had never heard before. Like some of the ways in which he had stacked. His father was Samoan, and so he woven throughout the album is like sounds of like the songs and chanting from Samoa. And there's like layers in that last song that I had never really totally heard or noticed before, that now, like, when I was listening to it yesterday, almost felt overwhelming, almost felt like too much. And so there's this, I'm just like kind of really fascinated by how heightened my senses are in this. I can feel myself taking, like, in the process of like taking a different shape. He's liminal right now, and so am I, because we're doing the same thing. Like over the last week, like every time I would anchor in my practices and like kind of cultivate my energy, I'd like come home and he'd be like walking around the house or something like that. Like he's always been mirroring me. And so he's still fucking mirroring me. He's still doing it. And so I'm like, okay, so what does this mean for not just like the fact that I'm doing this at all tomorrow, but the way that I've decided to do it, which is like I'm fully present, both eyes open. I will be holding him in my arms. Like I am introducing my stepchildren to death. Like what is this? Like
what is this?
What is this?
Yeah.
Like what does this mean for my life moving forward? My energy medicine teacher. Well, let me back up. An additional piece of context surrounding this is that about 6 weeks ago, someone that is one of my dearest friends in my community in Nashville suffered a completely unexpected and just utterly tragic loss that I won't explain any of the details of, but it sent these reverberations through the whole community there. And my teacher, Elizabeth, just immediately rose to the occasion of village medicine woman of what is happening here. And she has been so profoundly resourced for that role because of just how close death has come to her in her life over and over and over. Wow. Neighbors, siblings, friends. And she has this resiliency, this capacity for holding that reality on behalf of other people, for other people, with other people, for village. And I was watching her do this from afar while also beginning to walk this path. Literally the day that the ceremony that was held for this woman, this family, this loss in Nashville was the day that I essentially found out Crowley had cancer. And there's so that's been really interesting too, in sort of this way in which I'm not trying to 30,000 foot view this quickly. I'm just trying to be in it and move through it with complete presence. And I also can't help but, again, in the same way that I'm having the experience, I can't help but study the experience. It's just how and who I am. My learning curve has been, learning to not overdo it. And then that ends up being dissociating. It's a similar thing here where I'm I am being initiated into something.
Yes.
Through this process. I am totally clear on that. I'm being initiated into something that I ultimately want for myself. I actually do really want that. Yeah. And going through it just sucks.
Yeah.
It sucks.
Yeah.
So I've been holding a ton of tension in my shoulders. My jaw feels tired. I am pretty dehydrated. I've been really careful with where and how I either cultivate my energy through physical movement or I cultivate my energy through being very still. So I'm in completely uncharted territory with this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I really want to name the importance and magic and beauty of you sharing all of those very specific experiences you're having with your anatomy. It's such an important thing for just us kind of collectively to be sharing more of, so things aren't behind. Yes, the bureaucratic rage, it's good for me to name that, and one's not better or worse than the other, but I just really want to say really talking about the very intimate, particular experience of walking through grief and preparation and walking through a portal of a kind, how it really feels for you. I think that is just so I feel honored that you're sharing that with me and with anyone who's listening, and in all of the ways that you're sort of you're sharing everything that you typically teach. Like you're showing up with the integrity of what you talk about all the time. So I think that's something I want to name that I'm witnessing and seeing that you are doing.
Yeah. Thank you.
And so that turns your own experience of transformation into the potential inspiration. That's not quite the right word, but like others can then consider what they need for their portals, unwanted and wanted and poorly timed or rightly timed or whatever. Like that's not even the point, but it's like when one finds themselves in the midst of a life-altering transition.
Because you will.
Yes.
It's just more of those the older you get.
Yes. In part because you're also just awake to what matters to you.
Yeah. Thank you for saying that. I have had the thought many times, again, just these last 6 weeks of this, like watching my Nashville community go through this process while also experiencing what I've been experiencing here and seeing the ways in which my friends chose to kind of create the circle of support around themselves feels like so resonant with the way that I have felt compelled to really simplify things for me here. The thought that I've had, kind of the phrase that's come up for me is like, all there is really like in the human experience, like, yeah, we've got all these apps and these choices and these goals and these stories and we've got all this noise and really all it really is when like when the thing happens to you that you wish had never happened to you, there's your 10 to 30 people that you want surrounding you.
Yeah.
That's it.
It's so clear.
That's all we've ever been doing. Like as the human animal, like tribe, web, village, community, like it used to not be much bigger than that because it just logistically couldn't be for many reasons. And so it's interesting to me to even notice and feel this, like the awareness of just how much I haven't wanted to say anything in a public sphere.
Yeah.
How different that is for how I used to function and what my value system used to be, and just how much precision, clarity I have around, like, I know my body has known exactly who to send what text to, exactly who to ask what of, exactly who to say yes to, exactly what to cancel, exactly who to not be available to. It's like that precision. And the result feels a lot like what I got to observe from afar of my friends in Nashville. Like this, like when it all came down to it, it's a group of about, 20 something people surrounding. And that's how I feel. It won't be that in the material for me, tomorrow, but the text I was sending to people is like Thursday afternoon. So many people have asked this specific time. One of my closest friends, he's just like, he's like, I couldn't, if this was my dog, I could. He's like, I hardly have words because I can't even, he's going to drop into a meditation tomorrow at the time that it happens. And, that's how I feel surrounded. And I just, springboarding off of, some of what we talked about last week, this incredible desire that I feel. And if I were to put place this in context of like, what is this initiation that I feel like happening for me? And so maybe I'll just talk through it here and now, because that is like why I wanted to, create something that is like a permanent altar of sorts to like come back to and be like, this is what I learned. This is what happened. This is, I feel myself on this path, this initiatory path of the phrase I've been working with is a medicine woman for modernity. And so I was kind of shocked to find myself have the particular kind of like passion and precision of language last week when I was just like, okay, but the whole model of like don't self-disclose, don't be a person, like the whole it's incredibly dehumanizing. Yes, sure. And also the actual medicine. The actual medicine is the human connection. Like,
yes.
And so this hyper awareness around this idea of just like the 10 to 30 people like that, and I don't know, I've been feeling through a lot of that lately, and just this deep desire to make things really small so that they can be profoundly effective. But that as kind of a an answer to or response to this feeling like out there, or like everything feels spread so thin. It's just so thin. And like when I think about like getting on Instagram for what am I looking for? Who has what for me? Like what? And or even when I think about like writing a Substack right now, I'm like, why? What do I have to at some point something will come forth, it'll be sure. But like there's just so much noise. There's so much noise, and our bodies are just fucking over it. They're just so fucking over it.
Yeah.
They want their 10
stop.
to 30 people that will surround us when the real human stuff, the inevitable real human stuff happens, because it's gonna fucking happen. Like, it's gonna fucking happen to you. So, I don't know. These are just the things that I'm saying now. I don't know where I'm going. These are words.
So folks, that's how Jamie's been experiencing her anatomy.
I think that's my record for longest that it's taken me to answer that
perfect
question. I guess that just is the episode now.
So I'll name, like, before we started recording, like, obviously we checked in. Do we even want to do this? What does it look like? We had some ideas of what we wanted to talk about. And I think an important thing to acknowledge is really, especially this time, but then let's use this for every time, is like, let's only talk about what actually feels alive now. The structure we have for this podcast is meant to be there as like a supportive container. So if it ever feels too restrictive, then we let that part go. And I really felt strongly, we're only doing this if you can see a reason to do it. And so when you sent the memo and was like, I see a reason, I'm like, let's go. And I think that, yes, like I'll have things to share. And I think one of my roles, though, especially for tonight, even more than it sometimes is, sometimes you're the timekeeper. You're like, let's move on. But like, I'm going to do my version of that tonight. So that's just to sort of say what's happening, break the fourth wall or something. I do have like a genuine transitional observation that came to me as you were sharing what you were sharing, that would point us in the direction of the topic we were considering talking about, which was sovereignty.
I was really hoping that you might.
Yeah, so. I do.
I also trusted that you would.
Yeah.
So
good.
Yeah. Great.
Here we are for each other. But genuinely, so the topic that we had planned for tonight, not knowing the context in which we were going to record this, was talking about sovereignty. And, the overarching theme of the season is pleasure. And the bridge there of then why do we talk about sovereignty is, and this may circle back around and we'll talk more at the end about it, I suppose, but just to say up front, how are these things connected? Really a notion that is true, that felt true for me, and I think I learned half from you, is like, one can only experience so much pleasure if one is not clear about one's own sovereignty. And a very potent pathway for me into really like embodying and experiencing my sovereignty has been as I invite myself to like practice pleasure, because it's so like for you.
Yep.
And sovereignty as an idea is something I think we both have space tonight to explore, maybe a bit separate from pleasure.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing I was really thinking about when you were sharing everything you were sharing, like you were deeply describing how you were staying and honoring your sovereignty and staying with yourself and presencing and like really being with your body and honoring the sovereignty of you and what you need.
Mm-hmm.
And that doesn't mean that you get to skip the pain of the impact of other people
Mm-hmm.
on you.
Mm-hmm.
Because there's a version of like, maybe it's actually like hyper independence. We're all an island that maybe some
Mm-hmm.
people would call sovereign, of like, I'm sovereign and I don't even need anyone. And,
Right.
and,
Yep.
and people, not people don't matter. I don't think anyone would say that, but like, you could be unbothered because you're like, I'm sovereign and,
Right.
you know, you've got your vibes, I've got my vibes. And they're, you know,
Yep.
like some version, because you think that if you recognize the impact others have on you and you have on them, that's becoming codependent or
It's
something.
like
But
automatically codependent or something.
Yeah.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
But just naming, like, standing in your sovereignty, and part of that is witnessing the deep impact in mirroring and relationship and connection you have to this other being.
Mm-hmm.
And those things are not like, I think you're able to do that and actually sort of own and witness that in yourself because you're aware and sort of practice embodying your sovereignty.
Mm-hmm.
So that's my transitional thought about that.
Yeah, I mean, I have encountered plenty of people who their working definition of sovereignty, which I would say is like the working definition they've like decided upon in their head, but is like causing them real unacknowledged suffering in their bodies and like the way that their life is unfolding for them, which then kind of, because they're not acknowledging it, it necessitates kind of diving deeper into the belief that it's more retraction, more retreat, more retreat. Like I've encountered plenty of people who really believe in their head that like the appropriate definition of and expression of sovereignty is total non-attachment.
Yes, exactly. That's the word.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, I tried that on for a little bit. Here's the thing. Again, I love to just quote Alan Watts. He talks it basically, he's like sets it up like it's a balance trick. Like it's like riding a bicycle. It's a balance trick about how if you're here and you like you're all attachment, oh boy, that's going to be rough for you.
Yikes. Yeah.
But if you're here and you're total non-attachment, are you really here?
Totally. Like dissociation.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like for sure.
I mean, as you were sharing that, I almost interrupted you and said, like, I've never encountered a single person that has like believed that and not had a significant amount of dissociation happening in their system. Like ever. Because I think that's the only way you get away with it. Like towards yourself, with yourself and, you know, God or whatever. So like, yeah, that I have definitely encountered that. It was really important for me as someone who was more primed towards the sort of anxious expression of attachment that showed up as like a fawn response-based codependency in the context of relationship throughout much of my life, like I think is the case for like a lot of women. Probably it's, you know, what I just described there. I mean, this is the reason why, you know, Melody Beattie wrote Codependent No More for women, like women who love the men who are doing the other one and they've retreated into their addiction so much that they're like, what I do shouldn't affect you, you know? Yeah. And having had that historical disposition for so long, it was really important for me to like try on some non-attachment for a little while and like really like practice a lot of those principles and walk a good bit of that out. And I really do mean like, you know, I feel like doing that is what allowed me to find the homeostasis within myself that is real sovereignty that
Yes.
does necessitate interdependence. Because if you don't have interdependence, you're not being sovereign. You're deluding yourself into believing you're there's actually no practicing of sovereignty happening there. You're just totally withdrawn, and you never actually have to figure out how to tell the truth, how to keep your boundaries, that's not sovereignty.
Avoidant.
It's just avoidant. It's just avoidant, totally.
Yeah.
And so you can't have an experience of real and true sovereignty without recognizing that you exist for the purpose of being in relation. Like in
you're
relationship.
Bring up relationship. I'm like, oh, damn it. That's it. It's sort of ironic, but sovereignty is practiced in community, in relationship. It
has to be.
I'm sovereign and you're sovereign. If I'm just out in the woods, I mean, I'd still be like, I'm sovereign, tree sovereign, but I'm just I'm sovereign and avoid what? You're just the reason to say sovereign is to say where one person ends and another person begins. And that's a good beginning. And then out of that, now you still relate to one another, though. You're not just parallel, neutral forces to each other.
Yeah. Otherwise, you're not sovereign. You're scared. Just admit it. You're scared.
Yeah.
Which is fine.
Which is
but be
fair.
Sovereign about it.
Yeah.
And tell
you're
yourself
scared.
the truth and tell other people the truth. But it's a fear is a hell of a drug. And so again, and this you got to place it in context too of our culture that loves the myth of a lone wolf, really loves a good, cowboy chronicle, lone wolves die. I can't say it enough. I've been teaching that in my course since 2021. It's a complete and total myth. Wolves are pack animals, so are humans. And so you're not sovereign, you're scared. And if you admit that you're scared, if you can develop the capacity to acknowledge that in your own direction and in the direction of other people, that's how you become sovereign. Actually, because again, I don't quite know how to language this right now, but otherwise you are never finding yourself in these moments where enacting sovereignty, kind of as a verb, so to speak, or accessing a sovereign disposition is needed. And at the way in which this, I do think there's a way in which this relates to pleasure in the sense of I don't know. So everything we've been saying, you can't really have pleasure without sovereignty. So I don't think that living in that totally retracted, avoidant way yields pleasure in the sense of what we're talking about here. Kind of the whole difference between dopaminergic and serotonergic. The quiet part that needs to be said out loud is that this type of avoidant, retreated disposition is a way in which industrialized modernity is encouraging more and more people to live like this and function like this, and to say it is totally my prerogative to exist this way. And it is. That's the tricky part of sovereignty is everybody actually does get to make their own choice.
They're acting on their sovereignty in making those choices.
Yeah. But you will never be well.
The impact will be felt by themselves and others.
Yes.
So at least telling the truth about it.
Yeah.
You found benefit from it, and I am learning to find benefit from it too. Let's put it that way, right?
Yeah, and I think
descriptive, not prescriptive.
Yeah, and when we're talking about this concept of pleasure, we established last week, what are we talking about? We talk about pleasure. We're talking about what delights you, what relaxes you, what opens you, and then what invites you to regard and connect. So you're not actually having a good time. Your life is not actually pleasurable. if like that's what you believe sovereignty is. So then let's maybe take this in the direction of like, okay, that's not what sovereignty is. What is sovereignty?
Yeah. I think for me, it's like a working definition or application. I think about places in my life where the way I've been able to say access pleasure or just like access my own experience has been through of like, right, I am sovereign here and this is my experience and there you are over there. So it involves a detachment of a false story. So it's a non-attachment of the false story, which is that I'm responsible for your well-being. I'm responsible for your feelings. The way I'm safe is if I manage your feelings.
Yeah.
And so that's the detachment, non-attachment part, where it's like, you are over there and I'm over here. And if you are not watching a video version of this, which you probably wouldn't be, like I'm like literally pointing further away, like say with patience, right? It's like they are all the way over there and I am over here. And then sinking into myself. And I would say that like in a somatic way, like the sovereignty is the sinking into myself and the here I am. And I am the tree, I am the mountain. I feel like those are the kinds of sort of metaphors I would feel to feel like here I am. What do I have to say with what's happening within me, and taking radical responsibility, aka I wish to be responsive to what I discover when I ask myself that question and turn my interest and curiosity and focus and attention inward. So like that's like the practical application of sovereignty. And then through there, then I'm like, hello, spoiler alert, I find love. I find beauty. I find magic, because that's what's waiting for all of us inside and pain. But like there's magic in all of that. But like our bodies are in love with us, full of love for us, all the things we've talked about before, right? So that's the experience. And then when I think then about relating out to the other people, like I think I've used this sort of language before. It's like, what does my body think of their body? And then our bodies are just regarding each other and like waving, hey, and having impact on each other for sure. Someone punches me, I'm going to be impacted, whatever. But like, it's in a way where everyone, like you think of sovereign nation, like here I am, and the boundaries and borders of who I am, and nations can harm each other for sure. But like, that doesn't mean that I'm not still within my own experience and cellular makeup.
Yeah.
I don't know what I was going to say, but that's what feels true.
Yeah.
What feels like more like accurate and like functionally, practically speaking, how I understand sovereignty at this point.
That use language like access my own experience and sinking into myself. Last night in the refuge, one of the attendees, participants, we briefly tried on the word refugee. We were like, no, it doesn't work. We're not going to
be cute about that.
Yeah. No. She used this phrase, like basically I get to believe myself. And that like sent these reverberations throughout the whole group of just like, yeah, wow, yes.
Yeah, I'm having one. Woo.
And I just kind of can't help but place this whole conversation again, sort of going back to the beginning, talking about the bureaucratic rage. Can't really help but place it in the context of like, okay, are we as individual people really truly ready to take our recognition of our sovereignty as like Homo sapien, human animal, exist on this earth? Are we really ready to take that to its fullest extent as it relates to bureaucracies, structures, systems, stories, illusions, etc.? Because I believe we have to. Like I shared in the voice memo last week, or the time machine, so last week, what has been measured as the highest vibrational frequency is authenticity, is truth. And what is true, what is most true is that you are a human woman, a human woman. Like you're
Period.
not a Canadian.
Right. Yeah.
You're not a doctor.
Yes.
We definitely, I think, I think mother is indelible. I think that's one of the ones that is like, that doesn't move, like, because people came out of your body. But like,
yes, exactly.
as far as you are a wife, construct.
Oh yeah.
Construct.
Yeah.
It's just on paper. Like, as I look at the trajectory that I believe we are going on, like in like the evolution of consciousness and at how the way that interacts with our living matter, it necessitates, I believe it does and will continue to necessitate us as like human beings throwing off all of those other titles, identities, etc. I mean, maybe I don't want to say all of them. The ones that have been bestowed upon us that we have been told and are continuing to be told, no, it's totally who you are. It's totally who you are. It's absolutely who you are.
Externally defined.
Externally defined, externally imposed.
Yes.
Usually has some sort of extractive benefit for the structure, the organization, the entity. And if we're really going to take this, if we're really going to take truth and authenticity held in living matter seriously, we have to take sovereignty of consciousness and like somatic sovereignty 100% seriously. 100% seriously.
Yes.
And that's kind of bad news for a lot of system structures, like ways in which like not just like our society is like organized or whatever, but also like a lot of like the ways in which we have allowed ourselves to be lulled to sleep in the illusion of like comfort and care from these structures and systems. It's why you and I both see so many people waking up to what isn't working in healthcare. It's why I have, I'm increasingly speaking to and working with more and more people who are like, I think what I'm starting to identify is I need to take my skills and my passions and pursue the path of entrepreneurship and do whatever the fuck I've been trying to do inside of this system that the system won't let me do because the system gave me my title. The system gives me my permission. I actually am starting to wonder if like the more important thing as it relates to me being a human and that person in front of me being a human is that I am sovereign enough to meet them outside of the realm of all of these imposed upon me. I did not fully consent to titles, restrictions, illusions, etc. And we drop into that place together. I'm fully sovereign, taking responsibility for how I show up ethically here. You're fully sovereign and taking responsibility for how you show up here, that you have consented to this. You are interested in being here for this process. And we allow what wants to come through, truly like come through and emerge because nobody gets to tell us that we don't. Like that's my children, they'll have the choice to get them for themselves later, but they will not have birth certificates. I'm not inscripting them into these agreements with the United States government. I will take the path of collecting all of the necessary paperwork I need so that when they are a certain age and they tell me, that is my preference. I'm like, here's the folder. This is everything you need. Go do it. But like, as I've started to learn more just about like at least here in the United States, like when you're born, you are, God, it's so much to talk about and I'm not educated enough to talk about it. But like, I'm truly like, what would it look like for a human being to be actually totally sovereign from any of these illusions, constructs, etc. Like even down to like private banking with a trust in their name. Like it's truly like, and people have done this. People are doing this. You know, how it even shows up in the realm of like health and human care. Like people who are like, I have a religious or philosophical belief that doesn't align with like the sanctioned, mandates from the organizing system of my state or my country, how much do I believe that I get to be sovereign in that decision? How much do I believe that like, homeopathy, I think, is the path for me, because it's ancient and lots of people, and also fuck you, I don't need to explain that to you. Like, Chinese medicine is going to be the path for me. And no, the government doesn't get to tell me that what I have to do is go into that. Like, are we ready? Because this is the thing, like, if we've got to be, and this is the part like I'd written down about waking up from cultural codependency of like, we have got to develop the capacity within ourselves to watch other people make those choices for themselves and make it none of our fucking business. None of our business. Like, it's none of my business. If I'm fully sovereign and you're fully sovereign too, and you are telling me, or even not telling me, that like you have taken a path for yourself that has caused you to arrive at the conclusion that there is something that is better for you than the thing that I have chosen for myself, how much can I not take that personally? And settle within my own body that like that is okay with me. And so like, can our systems handle that? And if they can't, our systems are going to be in for a rude awakening very soon, because I think this just is the direction that like
it's
the
already
evolution of consciousness
what is
going.
happening.
Yes.
And, there's conversations like this happening in healthcare, and it has various names. Like if patients are it's an out of date term, but it still does exist in places, which is like non-compliant, which just speaks to like a power over dynamic. And there's like ongoing and I imagine cyclical and emerging like reckonings with that. So even if you as an individual in healthcare, or you have as an individual in healthcare, I have my paradigm, I've had my things that I think through. There's the things that I think probably would help or wouldn't help, etc. And also, here is this person who is sovereign, who is asking me a specific question. Can I honor their sovereignty in simply giving them my answer to their question? And then they get to do with that what they want. I think the additional piece that is a part of, I hope we find ways for it to continue to be and a growing part of like the collective consciousness of like, I'm deciding for myself. There's an and let's witness how the various ways people decide for themselves may be impacting others in a way where it's not like you're doing this to others, you're ruining it for the rest of us, whatever, but by like witness. And so then everyone who's making sovereign choices is having all of the information. And then as it's going along, having even more information and still making sovereign choices. And you know what I mean? So it's like, there's an and to that, because there's a version of the like, it's none of my business. And there's the interdependent piece where there's still collective ownership of who paves the roads or whatever. You know what I mean? Like there's those, but like actually it'll be a lot clearer to find the solutions that will actually work if we are not being lulled to sleep, but instead realizing like we are all co-creating this. This isn't actually someone else's job. We get to.
It's not someone else's job. That's so good.
Like, and so there's pieces of like, how do we invite patients to have larger co-ownership alongside of people who work in healthcare? And there's all different ways, and people have different ideas, and everyone's like, power struggle. But like, yes, like, especially when there's increasing gap between like demand versus supply of healthcare, like one of the things that happens definitely is that whether patients, everyone, like people who wish to receive care to the degree they're able to, part of it is having more ownership and collaboration. And that must be the only way we figure. And I want to listen and hear solutions from them as well. You know what I mean? Like, so it becomes easier to see the genuine solutions when we all realize that we are part of the solution discoverers. We are all co-creating it together.
Yep.
And I can do that from a better place if I'm not like, you are all making this job harder for me, or like any of those other codependent type constructs that can come up.
Yeah.
Where it's like, no, I am here and my vantage point of the forest, this is what I see, and I am here and I'm making choices that make total sense to me.
Yep.
And I'm not going to spend energy being pissed that you're over there in that corner of the forest shouting about a different solution. I can get curious about it.
Yep.
I can be like, I don't get it. Will I ever get it?
Right.
But I don't have to be like, shush, or like, you're evil.
Right.
I can just be like, wow, I really don't get that. I'm curious about it. Or like, oh, I'm actually starting to get it. Whatever it may be. But like that being the disposition, if someone makes a choice that's confusing to you, is mainly just being like, oh,
I'm going to look elsewhere.
Yeah. If you can't handle it, you're like, too different from me. You can look elsewhere, or you can be open to like, gosh, yet to fathom.
And the reason why this kind of just like can't seem to happen inside of the way that like healthcare, again, for example, exists, it's just so big. It's just like too big. Because as you're describing this, I'm like seeing this image in my head of you over here and that person with a different idea over here. And both of you are like, these are each valuable options. Who feels resonant with option A and who feels resonant with option B? Move towards that person.
Yeah.
And it can just be that simple. But like the way in which two particular industries have captured healthcare, being insurance and pharmaceuticals, and they each have their own special interests for why they believe the things need to unfold and how they should unfold. Like if that was not, if there weren't like kind of puppet strings on like healthcare, where it's like healthcare, move this way, and people holding it like move this way. Like there's a capture to it because it's just like these two industries are so big. They're so big and they just want to keep getting bigger. They just need to create more value for their shareholders next year, you know? And so I'm like, that's sort of the problem. Like if that wasn't the arrangement, and again, this is why I go back to like 10 to 30 people. Like if we start like if we made this smaller, then it really like you don't have to take offense. And again, it's like you're not choosing to, it's like a somatic thing that's happening, but you can choose at any point to develop the capacity to walk that back and then learn how to not do it. But like it really can just be as simple as person A values this option, this path, this procedure, this potential solution, and then person B values this. And because all bodies are just like super different in how they respond to the effectiveness of certain treatments, et cetera. Like, what if everybody, that's where it's just like, then everybody does just get to choose. But when there's these like large corporations that are, again, just attempting to create more value for shareholders next year, like there's like a cap on individual people's ability to structure things that way. Like that's very deserving of bureaucratic rage, like, because that's exactly what it is.
Yeah. Like, oh, could I just be a sovereign being here? And I am one, but like, oh, if it is, because it's usually like, if I was like, hey, I'm a human and you're a human, and this is what I'm planning on, this is what I'm attempting to create. You want to come help me? And even if they could just say no, instead of being like, but this is my job and I'm the only one who holds the keys, you know what I mean? Like, okay, I want to own the facilitation of the time. I have a question for you, and then you will have a question for me. I see.
Yes, I will.
But my question for you is, I want to give you a menu of options of what we do next. Choose your own adventure. Because what our new rhythm is meant to be is like, we close off this, we do a body dedication, and we say goodbye to the main feed. And then we transition into an after dark, maybe more intimate, personal topic on Substack. That is just for the paid subscribers because it feels a bit safer to have it in a held container. So some options that I submit to you, Jamie. One is, if because of your capacity, you feel fatigued, we could just round this off and be done. I still feel like I have energy to go for one, but to name that.
Mm-hmm.
Number 2, in terms of what we could talk about, of course, we could just discover it at the time. But one is, I wonder if you'd want to circle back and share any more about Crowley and about how your relationship with Crowley taught you about sovereignty, or if you feel like you've shared beautifully already, but like that's something you could share in more detail. A third one is my bureaucratic rage dilemma. I could speak about with more detail. I still won't like name names or whatever, but I can see how my conditioning against my own sovereignty is showing up in ways that I will be fine if we don't talk out in a recorded form. But you, I think, because you're an excellent facilitator and coach, I could talk out and we could tease out the pieces of it together. So, and also if you have another option, but I wanted to submit those as potentials of what we could do next.
I really like that third option for multiple reasons. I'm just super curious about it. I also feel like I've just done like a lot of talking in this episode, so I'd love to hear you talk. And I do also feel pretty complete as of right now.
Good.
Talking about Crowley, there's guarantee there's going to be things that are going to come to me later that's like, oh, I could have said that, but there will be other opportunities to share that. Maybe I will make an Instagram post in the future. Who knows? But yeah, I'm really curious to get into like the juicy details of what made you rage dance in your basement for 20 minutes.
Yes. Okay. Well, if anyone would like to join us, exanatomy.substack.com is where you can come join us. We'd love to have you. Just the quick blurb is we made this choice because we crave more community. We made this choice because we knew pleasure and related topics would bring up spicy things we weren't quite ready for the entire internet to hear us talk about. And also because we have a goal and a vision of this podcast being financially self-sustaining. And we're running the experiment of if this is a way that could happen.
Yeah.
Okay.
We are iterating in real time here.
Real time, baby.
Today we're putting gossip behind the paywall. That's what we're doing.
It's like, and it is so, it feels so gossip. And
Oh God, I'm so excited. Yeah, last week we put talking about getting crushes on clients behind a paywall. In the future, we're gonna put talking about like BDSM and
sex
stuff like
lives.
and just various sex things behind a paywall. So today it's gossip, and I'm excited. Joan,
yes,
what part of your lovely, powerful, sovereign anatomy would you like to extend appreciation and gratitude to today?
Oh my gosh, I'm like 0% prepared for this. So I'm like, what comes to me? I want to say my spine. My spine can be my teacher in how she is both so strong and sturdy and like necessary to hold up this entire system, but is also incredibly flexible. So like she's the embodiment of both and in that way, where if I feel like I can only be rigid or can only be fluid and amorphous, like, no, there's this cool third option that exists in my spine. And also when I dance, like I think like I do a lot of movements where I like bend all the way over and I like hunch my shoulders and I move my whole body obviously when I dance, but like one thing that really gets that workout is like my spine in all these different directions. And that's just really, actually next time I dance, I'm really going to like dance with my spine and really notice her even more.
Yeah.
But, and also like spines be crazy. Like my whole spinal cord, like all the way I feel and receive and move, it's like contained in this stack of bones with the cartilage in between them. And you just have this little hole. Oh my, it's like, you know.
And that's the way the design has always been. And it's wild? Like that's going on in everybody. Yeah, it's cool.
It's so cool. And I have so much appreciation for it and see where there's times where people, you know, if they have the disc or if something happens to your spine, how altering that potentially can be. And so
Mm.
I just really honor my spine and, what she's doing right now as I sit and what she's always doing behind the scenes.
I love that. I honor your spine as well. Spinal health it's like the foundation of the physical practice of the 5,000-year-old tradition of yoga.
Yeah.
Like 5,000 years ago, they were like, you should probably make sure you have a good amount of like fluidity and flexibility in this part of you. So yes,
Wisdom
I
there.
bow to the spine.
Love it. All right. Well, thanks to everyone who's taken the journey of this main feed episode with us. Thank you, Jamie, for with integrity showing up as you wish to. And I would thank you if you said that you were not wishing to, So it's like purely like embodying your sovereignty to be like, yes, and this is how, and this is why,
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. I miss the version of myself that had like enthusiasm and clear thoughts. I trust that she will be returning at some point that is currently undetermined length of time. And for right now, like, yeah, this is very much in the same way that I showed up in the refuge last night and was like, this is what we've got. So let's figure out what happens for the next 2 hours. Like I felt the same thing going into this. Like, this is what I've got. I spent the first phase of my career cleaning this stuff up, or thought I was, in private before like performing a certain amount of what it's just really uninteresting to me anymore. And it's like ineffective and also makes me less sovereign, makes me less well. And I'm having a less good time when I'm doing that. So thank you for the support and the encouragement in this vulnerable practice.
Yeah, it's my honor and my pleasure. Speaking of pleasure.
Yes.
All right, everybody. Thanks for listening. See you on Substack if you're joining us there. Otherwise, we'll talk to you later.
Bye-bye.
Bye. This is Experiential Anatomy. Thanks for listening. I'm Joan Chan.
And I'm Jamie Lee Finch. Experiential Anatomy is co-hosted and created by us.
Amber Wyndham is the editor. Julia Wyndham is the supervising producer.
Senior producer is Elizabeth Wyndham.
Our theme music is Park Pier 3 by G's Guy.
If you have any thoughts, questions, or stories to share about this week's episode, email us at exanatomy@gmail.com.
Please follow, rate, and review on your favorite podcast platform. And remember to join us over at exanatomy.substack.com.
Experiential Anatomy is produced by Windhaven Productions. So good, baby. You did so good. You're so good. Yeah.